Josh and Tom, it's great to have you on the podcast by video for the first time altogether.
Well, no, it's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. Sorry about being a little bit late. As you know, I had an accident and red dye went everywhere. So my room resembled something out of American, Psycho. But yeah, no, it's great. It's great. And it's good to see Chash, Thomas, and yourself as well, Adam. So yeah, sorry if I look a bit flustered because it was a red dyed nightmare.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. It's always great to connect with you guys, and for people listening, Tom and Josh are good friends of mine, and we go back, quite a few years, and we always have good conversations. But I thought, I kind of do this episode around kind of current trends and things happening, around the world and in the UK. And you mentioned something that happened recently, Josh.
Yes, it happened in Reading. So if you've got any international viewers out there, Reading is a suburb just off London. And this kind of links into a subject that we wish to speak about within this podcast regarding the downsides of social media. And this individual is a lad, 13 years old, just at the cusp of life, pretty much. He had a girlfriend. However, what did occur is this girlfriend, also 13 years old, essentially what had occurred is that the fella, the young lad, found out she was sending nudes. 13-year-old sending nudes, which is mad. This is why people need straight up discipline in the belt. But either way, yeah, it does. Crazy. These are just like little girls, damn. Like 13-year-olds, my day, 26? They weren't doing that. But I'm going off on a tangent. What happened is that she posted on Snapchat. As you know, Snapchat posts fade once they're open, but they managed to screen capture it. And what she stated is that this has occurred. My fella is not happy with me. I sent off nudes to another boy. I want to teach him a lesson. I'm willing to pay £157, I believe it was, for him to be stabbed as a lesson, but I wanted to be stabbed in the hand.
Why 7?
Pardon?
Why is it 7? Why is it 157? Why not 150? Why
I don't know. She's a 13-year-old girl, man. This is pocket money times. That's a lot of money. Damn, I could do a lot with that. But
it's crazy.
At that age, of course. But yeah, what occurred is they agreed to meet this boy at a certain location. I think she went on the premise to her boyfriend, like, oh, let's meet up. That's just essentially, just basically go through this. What ended up occurring is that this lad met up, and people that were in the Reading Park saw like hooded figures, like small hooded figures, like Nazguls who just raided Sports Direct and were wearing the Chavy regalia. But I know I'm putting a bit of humour on this, but it's disgusting what happens. They got the lad, they repeatedly stabbed him to the point where he was dead on arrival when he went in the hospital. And she's now claiming that she's an innocent party, but
she's guilty by association.
This man, start of his life, 13-year-old, was literally put to the knife, killed, cut his time short, and this girl is trying to claim that, oh no, it wasn't the intention, I just wanted this to happen. But now the screen grabs of everything that she said. Obviously, with the nature of UK law, we can't post face, we can't post names. But yeah, it's disgusting, and it just shows just how toxic social media can be. At one end of the spectrum is a lifesaver for many who are self-isolating, but on the other, it brings up situations like this. So I just wanted both of you just to get your opinions on the negatives of social media and the downside to what's occurring to our youth today in the UK.
I think social media, in the respect in which I'm talking about that kid getting stabbed, I think they're way too young to be having stuff like Snapchat and stuff like that. I didn't get a phone until I was 14, 15, and even then it was a Nokia where you would play Snake on it. But now we're seeing kids with iPads and stuff. I don't think that's good. I think it's affecting how they grow up and that. And obviously, in this situation, yeah, it's like really, really messed up. Like she probably put that out there, not actually meaning it, and now it's come back on her, and she's gonna pretty much spend the rest of her life thinking about every day how she got that her boyfriend or whoever it was like killed, and that's on her. She's probably going to grow up all messed up now.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think like you said, there's two sides to social media. It's a tool, really, and I think it's how you use it. And there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of positive stuff on there. But the thing is, like, if people are using it to bully someone, they don't have to even. They can create a fake profile. You
Yeah,
don't even have to put your real name or picture, and you can cut someone down, say what you want,
yeah.
and that happens on a daily basis. And
My
I think,
ex used to do that to me every week. I used to get those. My ex would create fake Instagram accounts and message me just random shit. Sorry for swearing.
I
So
know it's fine.
you definitely get that sort of aura of anonymity, or however you say it, with social media. I don't think that's good. But
I think one of the worst places for it is Twitter. I I just put what I need to put on Twitter, and then I get off it. It's like Facebook and Twitter. You have to be careful, because you could put something, and everyone has an opinion. That's absolutely fine. That's life. But you could put something, and someone might not like it, and then they could say something negative to you, and then you take that on, and then you might be stuck with that. And you see with celebrities all the time, they post things, and it's no good for your mental health if you're continually looking at all that stuff. So I think there's two sides of the spectrum to it, but people do use it for not very nice things, especially with what that girl did. And the thing is, people can then frame somebody, put it on social media, or threaten them, and it's out there in the public and on the wide web. So you have to be quite mindful.
It's just people not taking accountability, pretty much.
So on that accountability spectrum that we're on at the moment, I'm going to put this in like a sociology standpoint. As we know, there's two forms of socialization. There's primary, which is you inherit that from your family. So let's say you're in a typical nuclear family, dad, mum, or and you're within that household, you learn from them. But then secondary is just when you're going into your teenage years, and that's where you basically, it's like a tribe mentality. You find like a clique that you see yourself with, and you strive to be within that group. And at the moment in time, because obviously it's lockdown, and in yesteryear it used to be video games. Like when we were young, video games used to be blamed, and other things used to be blamed as well. However, social media started kicking off right when we were younger, but now there is the insidious side to it, and it's not going to be long before the blame game starts, where they start casting aspersions like, yes, it's these influencers which are starting this. But what I essentially want to get at is the role of social media in influencing negatively, like child's mind. Because you mentioned something which I want to pick up. Big thing is self-esteem. So a lot of people, social media is basically like clothes that we wear is a projection of yourself. So you put yourself out there, and nowadays it used to be where I used to have that dickhead of a buddy, but then you didn't have to see him. But now it's always present, it's ever present. Your phone's in your pocket next to your bollocks, and you get a buzzer and you hear it, and you're just going to get a bully saying something. So it's continuous, and it's that anonymous as well, so you never know. So
you do have the option to block these people.
Whether more sort of guidelines looking at that as a good thing, but on the flip side, that does lead to censorship. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on censorship and also having accountability, because a lot of these people are not accountable for what they've done. Like, for instance, this girl is trying her damnedest to say that I had no intention of giving this money. It was just sort of a jest, and these people did it. However, the end result, a young lad died. A clever lad at that. Not that it makes a difference, but yeah, a young lad died, and this girl was claiming it's not her fault, she had no intention. But either way, I just wanted to get your thoughts upon it and see what both of you think.
Is she old enough to like really
13.
mean what she says? Like I'm sure at 13 years old, we all said stuff we didn't mean. I think if someone took that literally and then went to go kill him, then I think that's on them. She's obviously the one at fault for putting it out there, but obviously it should have just been seen as, oh, she's just venting, or or whatever. I think the person who actually took it literally and picked up the knife and did it, they're the one who's messed up. They're the one who's weird in the head and actually went and go killed this young lad. But personally, I think after the age of 18, you're responsible for what you do. You're not responsible for what others do. But I think there needs to be tougher sort of restrictions on kids using social media. Like, I don't know how old you have to be able to sign up to, say, Snapchat or Twitter, but it's too easy for people to create. Say a 13-year-old creates an account, says they're 18. That's it. They've got an account and they're now vulnerable and open to the big world of everyone's opinions. I think social media giants should be doing a lot more to prevent young people from being on social media, because too many kids have got Snapchat. Like, it's weird.
I think with that as well, I think they did change the age. I think Facebook or Snapchat did change the age at one point.
Well, you don't need proof to say how old you are on it. You just
bloody
put
outation you can have a Facebook, so yeah, it's how they monitor it.
But I think, like, ultimately the mental health aspect to social media as well, like, you have to be balanced with it. Even for me and what I do, during the week I put my podcast on there, I put on content, but on the weekend I try and have a bit of a break from it, for my own kind of headspace. I have to have that balance. But a lot of people, they're looking at other people's lives, and it's so easy to do. You can compare yourself to how someone else looks, and you're gonna think, oh, my life's not so good because that person's driving an XYZ car or something. I mean, there's that aspect to it as well. But people ultimately, like you said, need to be accountable for what they say and do. And the things you post on social media could affect your business, the way people perceive you, your life, your credibility. And I think, like you said, people need to be a certain age, or they need to kind of have this kind of education around, social media. Because, like, 13-year-old kids on Snapchat saying stupid things and making threats can be kind of blown out of proportion.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that you just made there. You mentioned a lot, and this affects adults, this affects a lot of people, body positivity, whatever. People project on Facebook their best traits. So, for instance, that person that's showing, oh, I've got an Audi R8, I've got this household, look at me. But they don't know the person inside. That person could be crushed. For all he knows, he could be working his arse off ridiculously, and he's probably paying Peter, Paul, he owes a lot of money. You don't know. But the same thing is basically, and sorry for swearing, it's a dick waving contest. That's what it is. Is people going, oh, look at me.
Yeah.
But a lot it's like with anything. Like you find it a lot with like poorer communities and even overseas. Like people that were born in impoverished areas, when you get the chance, this is not a generalization, but you do see it. Like, you see people wearing like Gucci and all this sort of stuff, and you think in your head, how on earth do you afford that? But then when you look at it, they're probably not eating well, probably not doing this, casting aspersions, but you don't know. But it's all just a facade. That's what it is.
Yeah. I think a lot of people
see this and it reflects on them negatively. And thus, also with big media, when you say certain things, like with this whole bit of a tangent, with this whole COVID thing, people are like infatuated to the extent that they're worrying about, they're in constant fear. Or on the other end of the spectrum, they're going, oh, it's bollocks. There's no middle ground. So media and social media are kind of intertwined, and it's it's just constantly evolving, constantly adapting. But either way, at the same time, you, the person looking at it, you can respond to it negatively, you can respond to it positively, but at the same time, just recant that is not the true person reflecting themselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Social media, yeah, 100% makes sense. But like social media, a lot of people see it as them trying to sell themselves, and it falls back on that sort of primate instinct of wanting to be liked and loved by everyone. So if they go over and above on their social media posting, oh, I've got X, Y, Z, they think subconsciously that people are going to start liking them more. and wanting to be their friend, and their popularity goes up. So I think that's why people do it. Or if they're trying to make up for something that they lack, say they get such and such car, pay over fucking arm and a leg for it, but they're just trying to fill a gap of something they haven't got in their life with that. So it all falls back to this sort of trying to be liked, doing what we perceive to be happiness, and posting crap on Facebook. I remember me and Adam touched up on this in our last podcast, actually, about getting into relationships for the sake of being in a relationship, and how that's not good. But yeah, I think post what you said about impoverished areas and then wearing a Gucci belt, like, you don't know what the story behind that is. They could have got it off like wish.com or something like that, could be like a fake or something. But I think people who post like Gucci stuff on their social media, I think they're just trying to fill a gap for something that they don't have, perhaps, in their life. That's my take on it, at least.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point, and I think, if I post something, I don't. Some people have that need to please other people, or they kind of want to have that gratification and those likes because it makes them feel good, and they get caught up in that loop of posting stuff to get likes to fuel their ego. And I think if you post something, you just got to post it because you like it, not just because you want to get likes to make you feel good.
Like it, yeah.
I put things out because I just enjoy it and I like it. I don't have any expectations from it, and I think that's the kind of, it's difficult. It can be difficult because I used to be in that loop where I post things to get likes, like a couple of years back, but now, it's not good for you and it's not the right way to be. But I think, with people, having certain things in certain areas, it does kind of raise questions, because I've seen that sometimes online, and you think, how on earth have you got that car in an area like that? And half the time, people now, you can rent to have a picture taken next to a jet or a car, so it might not even be their car or their bag. So, I mean, that's another rabbit hole you can go down. But I think, there's pros and cons to social media. I mean, I don't go too much into politics, but like Facebook, with the election, and all of that, there's all these kind of narratives, but like these social media companies have a lot of power, and there's a documentary on it called The Social Dilemma, and it's like, how do you kind of regulate it and stop it?
I watched that documentary. It was quite good, and it basically just told us everything that we already know, that big media sites like Facebook, Twitter, etc., they're just manipulating stuff to try and get us down, try and create certain habits like spending and stuff, because it all comes down to money at the end of the day. But that documentary is pretty much just basically clarifying that big tech companies are creating trends on behalf of someone else, or to get us to change the way we think about consumer products and how we buy stuff. But yeah, it all comes down to money at the end of the day, and which company has the most data on the most amount of people. And that's the dick contest between the big tech companies, I think, who has the most users and stuff. Yeah.
I think Bill Gates' car. That's horrible. Anyway, yeah, tangent. But yeah, it looks at your cookies, looks at your browser history, and then for the uninitiated, they'll perceive it like, oh, this is made for me. But a lot of it, is, and again, I want to be apolitical, but a lot of social media is is a pariah in terms of jumping on bandwagons. Like, for instance, when you look at the reports within America at the moment, obviously it's a travesty going to the Capitol building and taking over, but they take limited photographs and they try and spin it where it's a race thing. So that creates more animosity, creates more of a division. Like, I don't think, personally, I don't think social media is forms unity. It just forming separate bands, whereas divide and conquer. I've never experienced it where there's literally where there's just so much far left element, so much far right. For me, I'm left. I'll say I'm quite liberal, But if you don't share all the same ideals, and you basically, or the right look at you like you Trotsky or something like that. So basically, you can't be a middle ground. You have to select it. Again, it goes back to that tribe mentality, where you basically have to feel included within something. And especially now, a lot of the people are just basically trapped within their four walls, wanking themselves into a coma because there's nothing better to do. So they look at this thing and it gives them gratification, self-importance, and they basically feel part of a movement. Because to be honest, it's not great at the moment. Like, you can't go outside a pub. I can't see my partner. I've not properly seen her since October. And what this brings me to my next topic that I thought was quite interesting is, again, it's to do with influence of social media on the youth. But this is where there's a lot more extremism. There's a lot more far right. There's a lot more far left. Christ, they had pipe bombs within the Capitol building. And there's been a lot of, it's Cobra, isn't it? That's that anti-terrorism thing within the UK. It's not G.I. Joe, it's Cobra. And there's been so many reports of extremism, and this is from like younger generation, like people handing out. I don't think EDL is a thing. It might be still a thing, but there's people handing out flyers for that, and racial attacks, xenophobia, and also the other end of the spectrum where, you know, you got certain extremists within Black Lives Matter. For instance, one of my close friends, Charles, he's an Afro-Caribbean lad, and he's got a white partner. And one of the people from Black Lives Matter went, "You don't represent us, you go out of a white woman." What bollocks is that? Like, the way to end racism is to stop talking about, stop fixating on it, and treat other people as, you know, humans. So, yeah, so basically, just your thoughts in terms of how it's not just insidious, it's creating extremism where people are dying, essentially, at the end of the day, because of it, or want to commit heinous acts.
I think like social media is pretty, you know, how people perceive it and how it can be kind of things can be conveyed to look like a certain way, and there's a lot of power in that because it can change the way people think and act and make them do things based on what they've seen on social media. Like, you know, a lot of things have happened. I mean, there's on that Social Dilemma documentary, they looked at these events that happened in I think parts of Asia where, you know, they tried over, lots of people got killed and things like that. There was like a lot of things that happened and in politics.
What event was that?
I don't know the ins and outs, so I haven't got it in my head or in black and white, but there was events that happened based on, you know, the social media and the content that, you know, made people angry and perceive things a certain way, you know, things the government were doing.
Need to take more accountability, probably,
and
the way to influence, you know, the masses, essentially. And about the left wing, right wing, it's just people reacting to political events that they like or don't like. Obviously, you know, on one side you got Trump, Mr. MAGA, then the other side you've got Sleepy Joe, and people are just reacting to what they like and don't like, pretty much. That's probably, yeah.
I mean, what makes me concerned is, like, you know, the security breach on that building. It's like, you know, where is the security for people just to rampage into the White House? I mean,
so Kamala Harris she tweeted this: "We have witnessed two systems of justice, one that let extremists storm the US Capitol yesterday, and another that released tear gas on peaceful protesters last summer. It's simply unacceptable." And Kamala Harris is basically trying to spell hatred against the police because she says that the police weren't tough enough on the people who stormed the Capitol building over the past few days. And she's on about the BLM movement when the police were releasing tear gas on them, but calling them peaceful protesters. There's a bit of a question mark over that. But yeah, so tweets like that will influence how people think and how they react, because it's a action and a reaction, you know. But I agree with what Medlin said about the racism. In the words of what's the legend's name, Morgan Freeman, Just,
he said
just
stop
stop
talking
talking
about
about it. Yeah, just stop talking about it. Stop referring to someone as a white man, black man, whatever, and just refer to them as man. And you'll see racism slowly wither away and die if you give racists platforms. Like if you create news articles on it, it's just giving them the publicity that they want, pretty much, and gives them the thing to continue. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
with that, it's sorry, Adam.
No, that's fine.
Because I say in terms of racism, I think it's much more prominent within the Western world because it's media. It creates articles. In turn, that creates revenue. It gives them capital. For instance, when I went overseas, I volunteered in Kenya. Not for a long period, just for a period of 3 months. But obviously, where I was on the border of Tanzania, a place called Loitoktok. So very, very, very rural. It's Maasai Lines near the savannah. You know where David Attenborough does all his documentaries of elephant sex and stuff. So yeah, near there. And obviously, being a white man, I always say refer to him as Mzungus, and also being a redhead, you know. So probably the most dangerous job. Oh no, yeah, I'm melanin deficient. Oh, let's go to a scorching part of the earth. But either way, like obviously they got independence within. I think it's within 1958, or I don't know the actual facts in terms of the date. However, it's not a polarizing issue in terms of race there. It's more tribal conflicts, because like we have counties, they have tribes. And like in the UK, for instance, if you look at it this way, we're from Nottingham. We race not like people for Derby because of football. But in terms of race issue, I felt, you know, nothing out there. It wasn't so much white, black. It was like, thank you for coming here. Welcome to my community. Obviously, it was a difference, but they didn't see it as a hindrance. They didn't see race as sort of a hindrance that will stop you preventing everything. It's much more meritocracy. So based upon your own merit. Yes, there are elements of corruption within there, which is an absolute shame. However, the ethic out there is not. The family unit is a lot more integral. The community is a lot more integral. If you work hard, it pays off. And their focus is more upon that, on unionship and trying to connect like the tribal communities to essentially have a cosmopolitan society, which doesn't really dwell so much on race. Yes, colonialism was an issue. And yes, that is taught within there. However, they're more in depth. So they're looking at the whole scale of Black history. In the UK, we just essentially colonialisation, civil rights, done. Over there, looking at the Berber Empire, they're looking at Hannibal, looking at other great people, which they can aspire to. But in terms of race, no issue because of race. Like, over here, like, you get certain people on TV with like, oh, what's a new PCQ word? There's no political correctness out there. It's just, you're black, I'm white.
You got taken the piss out of for being white and meddling that.
Aesthetics, which is what we need to do.
You got taken the piss out of for being white in Africa, Madeline. You told me.
Well, no, I wasn't taking the piss out. I just got Mzungu and just assumed that I was minted because it was a white person coming in.
So for people listening,
they've got a nickname for you based on the colour of your skin. I'd class that as racism. If they've got a nickname for you based on the colour of your skin, Madeline, that is racism.
It's just another way of saying white man. It's just white, black. There's no issue. Within a Western sort of mindset, you think, oh, they're focusing on my skin colour, but it's not like a snide comment. It's just stating facts, like white, black.
That's for people listening, what does that word mean, Mzungu?
White man.
That's what it means.
Yeah, it's white man. That's what it means. So yeah, it's just, well, it's the most obvious trait. For instance, if you're probably the only white person in miles, you're not going to go, like we do when trying to explain a black person, oh, the person was 6 foot and has got brown eyes. Like, they're not as bothered. They're just like, yeah, he's white, he's black. There's no issue. There's nothing negative behind that. There's no connotations which make it bad. So that's what I'm suggesting now. We've, as a society, we should have progressed. We were the first to abolish the slave trade. We realised how negative and how heinous and horrible it was. Yes, we're not perfect as a Windrush generation, but we shouldn't be so fixated on the aesthetics of another person, whether they're just because they've got more melanin or, you know, less melanin than the other person. It doesn't matter. Being skin colour isn't a culture. is just culture's where you're from. It's just aesthetics.
Yeah,
and
the way you were
focus on
raised,
that
isn't it?
to create negative connotation towards each other. So that's why I think it's bad in society now, but that's the focal point. And that's why what me and Cheshire and Morgan Freeman saying, stop talking about it. You know.
I think as well, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's like I saw a lot of articles where they are saying that, you know, how it's like you're talking about slavery and things like that, and trauma. It's passed on, though that trauma for when those people have gone through that, their ancestors, and when they have kids, that they, you know, we take on unresolved things from our, you know, our ancestors and our parents and their parents in our DNA and our wiring, is that it is so raw in people because it's all this unresolved and all this trauma that, you know, their ancestors have been on, and, you know, through them having kids and having kids, etc. over time, it, you know, it's still raw. It's still raw. You know, you think of, I won't go down too much of a rabbit hole, but for me, on my granddad's side, they're Native American Indians on my granddad's side. And even if I see trees being cut down, which, you know, sounds really weird, I kind of feel it. It's just in me, in my wiring, where it affects me. But then I think about, you know, my granddad's side and, in, you know, the natives and the things they went through. You know, I get triggered by it. And I think that's kind of similar to, like, you know, racism and slavery and all of this as well. People are being triggered by it because it's just, you know, in their makeup. You know, it's something that's still kind of raw, and we're all triggered by, you know, by it in different ways.
I think that's by association, pretty much, isn't it? That's just, it's never really anything that affects you personally, but you feel as though you have some sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Allegiance, as it were, to descendants that you, as you said, you might get triggered by it. But I mean, I don't really know much about that subject.
Yeah, we'll have to look more into it. But I think, you know, with slavery, it still goes on today. I mean, there's like modern day slavery. I don't know if there's like more slavery now than there was back then.
Dubai was built on slavery.
Yeah, interesting fact. Where do you think the word slave comes from? It's
is it Egyptian or Arabic or something?
No, it was the Persian Empire, so the Ottoman Empire, and they were known for having the largest amount of slaves, subservience, and they had eunuchs where they used to get from Africa. But in terms of slave, where it comes from, during a lot of their sort of holy wars and taking over and occupying other lands, they went to Slovakia, and they took a lot of the people there. And the word Slovakia, so they're known to be the best slaves, the word slave comes from there. So that's where the word, as we know it, slave comes from. So there's been a lot of this in the past. And what you mentioned in terms of like innate sort of, not animosity, but empathy, I'll say. For instance, if you're Native American heritage, you can put that in your shoes. So there is that there. But throughout history, people have, like, for instance, red hair, he's Celtic, or Sinai. We were taken over by the Romans and thus. But either way, it's because it's fresh. It's relatively modern history, the past 400 years. And yes, we can't right the wrongs. Society is built upon that, and it is absolutely terrible. So it's not to be dismissed, it's to bear in mind, but just to learn from it, not fixate on it, and work in unison if it can happen. But the problem is, and this is Black Lives Matter, is an admirable, sort of movement. However, the way that media is looking into it is like, oh yeah, they want this, or let's cancel a few TV shows, which is stupid. Like, do you think Black Lives Matter gives two flying fucks about 40 towers? No, like, they want to put the message out there to sort of, basically just to state like, yes, we want equality, we want the police to be reformed, we want this, we want that. And all that's creating is, you got like the white middle class going, look at them with the 40 towers, oh no, how dare they? And it's a constant vicious cycle. Like, there's no way of rectifying it. I'm not stating out here to rectify the world's wrongs, but I think just a discussion saying, what do you want how can we do it instead of assuming. A lot of it is based upon assumptions, and a lot of people now are worried about offending the other party. Offence, unfortunately, is part of the human nature, and is whether you adapt or whether you succumb to it. Like, for instance, look, like Bill Gates, he was definitely bullied. Look at him. Look at him. He looks like an armadillo wearing glasses. He probably got no pussy in college. But then he became this intellectual invested in Microsoft. And look at him now. He's like, you bullied me, but now pretty much you have my devices within your hands. You've got it on your computer. And yeah, so unfortunately, there's always going to be negativity in the world. There's always going to be that. Yin and Yang is trying to counteract that. And also, as back to the social media thing, as a person looking at people, you know, like you said, with the fancy cars and stuff like that, and you project your insecurities by looking at it, but at the same time, is to aspire to it. Like, at the end of the day, is what makes you happy, what you believe in, and that shouldn't be swayed, it shouldn't be influenced. You have to, I think now it's just a lack of self-morals and a lack of motivation, and that's why the suicide is so high, the suicide rate, because especially within men, because they've got no set agenda, they've got nothing to aspire to. And I think just looking at social media, that instantly reflects on them like, oh, I'm crap, I'm not a provider. You've got 4 walls, you've got a roof in your head, you've got the meals, you've got your family. I think a lot of it is worth has been shifted from family, emotional ties, and it's been shifted to materialistic things. And that's a negative connotation of social media.
Yeah.
I think that's it as well. And, you know, people are more than just their likes and their followers. And, you know, I don't post anything to gain likes or followers at all. That just kind of comes with you know, what you do. And I think if you've got something to prove, you know, don't put stuff out there to prove it to other people. You know, do something to prove it to yourself. Like I put stuff, you know, to prove, you know, to be a better person the next day and that kind of thing for my own self. I don't post stuff to try and want to gain something. Do you know what I mean? Like people have got it completely flipped round and backwards, and they're caught in that cycle because it can be addictive. It can be addictive because you post something, you get 20 likes, you feel good. Oh, I'm going to post something else. Oh, I'm going to do this. And some people are caught up in that loop. And, you know, people don't actually know themselves sometimes because they're so caught up in all of that. And it's a distraction from what's actually going on. It's important to talk about. And I think, you know, we're touching base on some key things that people should, you know, look at and think about. I was just thinking as well, like, you know, with that, should we talk about that WhatsApp? You know, how WhatsApp are being, you know, they're owned by Facebook and they're changing. They had an update recently, whereas if you want to continue using WhatsApp by, is it the February 8th, then you need to agree to the terms. And they're sharing, you know, our conversations, you know, storing them.
Yeah, that's why we switched to a more secure chat service, didn't we? We weren't going to detail, but it's like an encrypted. Is it encrypted one or something like that?
It's completely encrypted. Yeah,
so it means that there's no record basically of what we talk about, because we get well paranoid, obviously, about our chats on the internet.
Elon Musk talked about it. Elon Musk put a tweet out saying use XYZ.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think some other people did as well.
But I've got another question. This question, I only asked it on one podcast, but I thought it's quite a good thing to ask. I'll start with Tom can start if he wants, or Josh. But if you could have a meal around a table with 3 people who are alive, anyone, who would they be and why? If you could have a meal with 2 or 3 people and you could pick anybody who's alive, who would it be and why? Or one, or like someone who stands out to you, or someone who you like, or someone who'd be interested to talk to.
Depends who's paying for the meal. Yeah, Tom, you say this one
depends
first.
Where we're eating first. Yeah.
Anywhere. If it could be anywhere, and you could sit with 2 or 3 people. If you can think of one, that's fine. Do you want me to start? I'll think of.
Okay. I think I know who yours would be.
I'd like to. I'd say Gary V, obviously.
Joe Rogan.
And then, Joe Rogan. And interesting.
You haven't thought about this, have you, before asking?
No, I have. It's just gone on my head. Probably Who's the actor I like? I'm trying to think.
Leonardo DiCaprio's son.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. Pretty cool to have a meal with.
Yeah.
God,
I
this
think
is
Orlando
a
Bloom
cook
would be
session and
cool
people
to
smoking
have,
weed. That sounds like some sort of delicatessen meal.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Rogan, I won't have the marijuana.
Who
what
plays,
musicians-
Who plays Aragorn in Lord of the Rings, Medland?
Oh, I can't remember. It's some crazy Czechoslovakian name. But just
Google
search
it now.
search it on the internet. You'd be Jamie from Joe Rogan. Jamie, search it. What's the guy's
Yeah,
name?
yeah. Flip it up. What about musicians, Madeline? I know you're into music. If you could sit around a table with any musicians.
So if we're talking about alive, first things first, it'd be my family because I value them more. But if we're doing hypotheticals, I'll say Sean Ryder. He's if people don't know who Sean Ryder is, he's a Mancunian artist. He was in Happy Mondays. Terrible musician, but he just likes a lot of fun and he's got a good rhythm to it. Basically, this guy, you know, did that Electric Avenue song. Forgot his name now. It escapes me. But he had a place in Barbados. Sean Ryder got addicted to crack and decided to completely ruin his recording studio. Like one of the executives from Factory Records flew over, and it was Sean Ryder and Bez, who's famous for Maracas, was stealing the sofas to sell him at the port of Barbados to sell for crack. And also now he's given up drugs and stuff, and he does podcasts about aliens. He's mental, but he'll be great. So I'll have him for one. And I've Anthony Cletus from Red Hot Chili Peppers, because great musician, influenced by funk and all that sort of stuff. Has had a fast life. Like, again, he was very much into addiction, but now he's stopped. He hasn't done touch drugs or drink for the past 20 years. He just eats a pescatarian, just does that, surfs, injects himself with something called ozone, which is to increase his natural antibodies. And just because it'd be so funny to have him on there, it'd be such a weird dinner. Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
Sound like Kermit the Frog, Mancunian artist, and you know, Anthony
that sounds
Cletus.
Interesting. Jordan Peterson's an interesting guy.
And I'm trying to think what we'll eat. It'll be the most awkward dinner. So we all, because bearing in mind, I'd be petrified in front of these celebrities. So I'll order ribs. So like that. So I'll do that. Break the ice.
Hands before fingers, obviously.
Yeah, and the purpose of it, it'll just be a laugh. It'll be funny. Jordan Peterson would be like, "I'm not using your pronouns," and Sean Ryder would just say something Mancunian like, "Fuck off, all lad." Excuse the swearing. And Anthony Cletus would probably just be jamming. So yeah, I just think it'd be a laugh.
That's pretty cool.
I'm there to eat food. I'm not there for a debate. Like the stratosphere. I'm like, shut up, dickhead. I'm eating my ribs. Yeah, that's what I would do.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Have you thought of anything, Chesh?
I mean, like actor-wise, I think I'd like to have Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson and Will Ferrell. I think those three around the table, that would be a good mix.
That would be a good mix.
That would be, yeah.
God, think about all the protein in a meal with Dwayne and Mark Wahlberg. You'd be having like monster shits for the next 3 weeks.
It'd be pure shits galore, wouldn't it?
We're having steak. Will Ferrell probably eat jelly beans. Let's be real.
Yeah, he did that film.
There, a bowl of jelly beans and rainbow drops.
I was thinking as well. Like, do you know, like goal setting and New Year's resolutions? Do you think they work? Do you think that, you know, like, what do you guys think around that? You know, when people think about doing things or setting goals, do you guys have a way of writing things down or whatever, or planning? Do you think, you know, having a mindset around that, you know, do you think that works? Or do you think it's kind of down to each person?
It's more down to the individual. I think consistency then becomes habit, doesn't it? And people go, "Oh, New Year's resolution, this, that, and the other," and then they're back to their old habits 2 days later. But I mean, I think the most popular New Year's resolution is to go gym and lose weight, but we can't do that because none of the gyms are open. I did want to go back to gym, but there's obviously none of them are open, so I'm screwed. But no, I think like New Year's resolution and goals, you really have to invest yourself in it to see results. And a lot of people just don't have that sort of inclination to put in the effort for that. If they do, then good on them. Yeah.
Well,
What do
I
you think,
think it's
Josh?
self-deprecating because again, it's a thing like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, new year, new me. Shut up, you stupid bitch. You're just there with balls of people with some horrible spandex on going, I'm going to go to gym. No, shut up, much. No, to be honest, I don't think any resolutions should be met. I don't think you should just have, oh, I've got an epiphany. I'm going to be, what do you call it, a Swagway rapper. But no, I think if you've got goals, they shouldn't just be come up out of thin air just because you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're going, oh my gosh, I've got saggy tits. No, it should be maintained. It should always maintain your ideals. Like, for instance, if you've got an idea, don't just have it in the start of the year. Just maintain it and work towards it, because it's what's going to happen by the end of the year. If you go, oh, I haven't attained my goal. Like, this brings me to one of my famous sayings, and I love it. Everyone's a genius, but you can't expect a fish to climb a tree. So that's Albert Einstein. Like, everyone's got the potential, but not everybody's got the facet to know what they're good at. And I think New Year resolutions are a load of bollocks. It's just for basic bitches who shop at Dorothy Perkins to make themselves feel a little bit better. Because at the end of the day, you're still going to be fat. You're still going to have saggy tits.
It's something to put on your social media.
Yeah, and you put it on social media, like, oh, look at me, I've got a few likes, yeah, whatever. So, shut up. So no, I have a lot of hate for that question. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I think like you said, it comes down to the person. I think if you want to set goals, you got to do it for yourself, and it takes that discipline, doesn't it? It takes a lot of self-discipline to stay on track with something, and you got to do it for the right reasons, haven't you? Like, if you're, actually, if you're in a place where you don't feel so good, then set goals that you're going to make you feel good or benefit your health, isn't it? Because I think that's kind of where it's at. But people setting New Year goals. Like, I put a post and I was like, you don't have to tell people about it. Keep it to yourself. You don't. You see people put on social media. This is what I'm going to do this year. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're not interested about you fucking going green. We why would we care? Just tell your friends if you really want to tell someone. Just tell them that you're doing it. You don't need to go on Facebook status.
We don't care how many times you boil your kettle you day, you stupid bin. You know what I mean? I don't care less. I don't care about your life unless you're a close friend of mine. You just have likes going, oh, I'm doing the right thing. You know the right thing, not some person on Facebook that goes, yeah, I'm gonna like this because I probably went to a photo about 10 or 5 times. I'm gonna like it. So she knows. So yeah, or vice versa. But I'm talking a myth now. I just think, your goals are for you. Like, I've got my own goals that I want to aspire to, but again, it's gradual. I know it's not going to be that. A lot of great success stories is not just like fathomed out of thin air. It's because they work a lot and they work and graft. Men in their 20s, this is a time where you don't have the best jobs. You're either unemployed or you just graft it. You don't just go, yes, I'm the CEO at Nike and making these new shoes for SEALs or whatever bollocks. It don't happen overnight. Success, at this stage, you're building foundations for the rest of your life, aren't you? You're putting the bedrock in, and then you're going the direction that you want to, or at the same time, you're on the fence next to the bedrock thinking, what am I going to aspire to be? But making decisions, flipping ones, going, this is what I want to do. I want to give up smoking. What's going to happen? You probably have a cigarette and then you feel crap. And you go, oh no, it's work in progress. That's all it is.
That's it. Yeah.
Life, as religion puts it, is suffering. But I know it sounds quite damning, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be. It's just developing. So develop yourself, but not overnight, not over things, that you think looks good on your mantelpiece of Facebook.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah. Miracles don't happen overnight unless you win the lottery, obviously.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think they're really great points.
What would you spend 10 million on, Medland, if you won the lottery?
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, like I like quite a modest place. So, modest place. Probably invest in housing, make it more affordable if I can. But obviously, so a break even because it's on day you want, and then travel. I love to travel. And then probably just end up being a bum artist because I've always liked to draw. So I'd be there with like big long hair, like I won a lottery and I didn't spend it all on cocaine. So yeah, that's what I'll probably do. Just have a bit of fun. You don't have to have money to have fun, but it certainly goddamn helps. Yeah. What you guys?
Definitely.
What do you do, Chad?
What if I won 10 million? I think I'd be a property mogul. And
Grant Cardone times 2.
I have a Bentley, and go buy a place in New York. Buy an apartment in New York and use it as like a holiday home, and then let it out. And then I can go there whenever I want, can't I? First class, obviously, or business class on American Airlines, British Airways, whatever. That would be cool. I don't think I'd just set the interest, really.
What about the pollution from the planes?
I don't give a fuck.
You got 10 million, you're not going to care, are you?
No.
Oh,
I
yeah, I'm
think so.
assuming these tattoos.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think
What do you do?
I buy a podcast studio, obviously, and I donate some money back to the because I was in like special care unit in the QMC when I was born, so I donate some money towards them, for what they did and what they do. Cool. I'd save it. I'd save a portion of it and invest it. I don't know what investments I'd invest it in, but I invest it wisely. I'd buy a nice car, have a nice house somewhere, and trying to use it so I can something like I don't know, probably set up a charity or something like that, and then
nice, yeah.
But have a nice house, nice car, studio. Trying to think what else.
Is 10 million enough to retire on from now until when you die?
Definitely.
I think you could easily. There are people out there who've had millions and they blew it. There's a lot of actors and actresses out there who've got money and they've blew it. I think is he an example? I mean, I don't know where he's at financially.
He spent millions on bloody dinosaur bones. And then lost all his money, and now he's doing like the worst films ever. Like
I saw his recent film got a 2-star review, didn't it? I saw.
Yeah, guys, he's an interesting guy.
The problem is
10 million is more than enough. I'll set on my family as well. Set on my brothers. And give some money to Huntington charity. That's what.
Right. So once you've done all of that, Medal, how much is left for you, and can you retire on that at your age?
Probably live off $1 million. You know what I mean? If you invest,
that wouldn't go far. Because think if you buy a house, that would take up what 3/10 of that, 30% of that, perhaps maybe 40%. And what do you do with the rest? Furniture? Then that's another 10%.
What furniture are you getting?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Right, no, you could do. You invest it properly. I'm still saying I'll be working still.
I'd still work. I couldn't sit back and retire and not do anything and just sit back on that money, because that money, when you've bought all that stuff, is that going to make you happy? Money's just a tool, I think, which can make you do good things and provide things for people. But I think there's a deeper thing behind money. I think this is like where people get it twisted, because they don't actually know what makes them happy. So they buy loads of shit that they think makes them happy. But it's once they've got all that, they've got a nice car, they've got a nice house, perhaps a wife, and all of these things, and then they end up probably drinking or having mental health problems because they've accumulated all these things that I thought brought them happiness, but kind of it doesn't. But I think, like you said, it's that kind of value that you provide, and what is it that you're going to do with that money that's going to make a difference to someone else's life, or like I said, your family. It would make me happy if I won a lottery, because I'd set my family up and, like you said, do that. So that would make me happy. But a lot of the time, people, I saw an article and it was saying a lot of people spend the money who win the lottery because of their mindset and their relationship with money, that they don't believe. Where's he going?
Sorry, I don't mean to be showing the wall of my bum.
But that's the thing. People spend the money because they don't have that relationship with it, where they think they should have it, so they spend it.
Yeah.
with that, because I think money can be a great divider. So, for instance, there are downsides. Like my fear is you're going to lose some of your integrity. You're going to lose your determination. Because if you've got that money just sitting there, you're not going to aspire unless you've got that very unique mindset with like Elon Musk. But a lot of people think, oh, I've got this money, I'm just going to enjoy myself. And it can be a social divider, because you're going to find that your friends might want to leech off you all this sort of stuff, and people will just come to you just because they know you're wealthy, and basically you're not seeing you because for your personality. So I think that's bad.
Yeah.
But then I look at people like, is it Manny Pacquiao, the boxer? Southern American. I don't
Very
know
humble guy.
where from. Is he Chilean? But either way, he's
somewhere
very wealthy, and he's given a lot back to his community. He's built like infrastructure, housing, sanitation. So in that term, he's got the perfect balance, and he's still approachable. So it can be a great divider, wealth can, a great divider, and you lose your integrity, and you kind of get put in a box. And most people assume, oh, the wealthy elite. Again, that word elite, they're going to think that they're going to automatically assume you're going to look down on them. Or at the same time, they're going to come to you to access your money. So having that much wealth in the short term, yes, but you're going to find yourself in a very, very, very lonely world. So I don't think I would want it. 10 million, wouldn't mind a few 100,000. That'd be great. But I think
10 million might not change. It's up to you whether that's going to change you permanently, Medland. Like 10 million won't instantly
it's
make
not
you
changing
sad.
you. It's not changing you, and that's not the point. It's other people's opinions around you.
Well,
that could change. You could still have your integrity, but other people will approach you with a different mindset. Like they won't approach you because of friendship. They'll approach you because they want your wealth.
Well, I mean,
unfortunately, like the world is envious.
If we got 10 million now, Medland, we already know who our friends are. So it'll be easy for us to identify anyone new and be able to go, okay, you're just here because you want the money or such and such. Like we already know like who our real friends are and that sort of stuff. That absolutely. If you don't want to take your 10 million, man, I'll take the 10 million off you, and I'll have 20.
You're all right. I'm all right, thanks.
You're all right. You want it now, man.
Talking of millions and stuff, well, not millions. There's a thing in the Daily Mail where basically you can buy tickets to win. Do you remember Sven Eriksson? He was England manager and became a manager of Notts County for a spell. But yeah, he had a penthouse in Nottingham, like a penthouse, 500,000 with access to a swimming pool and a jacuzzi. And they're selling tickets on the Daily Mail to potentially win it, and a free iMac. So yeah, that's the latest thing I've done. You know, I can't hear you.
Is that still going?
No.
Medland's won it.
Yeah, it is. I would buy tickets.
I think it baffles me when I see people lost some money, and I think I couldn't sit back and not help. Do you know what I mean? Try and make a difference in some way to people, because I know there are people out there who are suffering or need it. You know what I mean? I don't want to put it towards a cause or something.
I think like filling up food banks, like all your local food banks, that would be pretty cool.
Well, buy all the food so no one else can have it.
I mean, you think of the COVID situation, and where people, are, businesses and things like that. Like, for example, you could set something up to help businesses who need money, and there's always something you can do with it.
The government, aren't they? Businesses are getting like 0% loans and stuff from the government.
0%, are they?
As far as I'm aware, yeah, there's like 0% loans. Although there's terms for qualifying. Like you've had to been established for so long before you can get the loan or something like that.
So not new startups then; it's just for established businesses.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah, like new startups are pretty much screwed unless you like the government.
The thing is as well, like that money, when you die, you can't take it with you. So I mean, like, what are you going? In those moments in your life, looking back,
leave it to someone else.
Get a gold coffin.
Oh gosh, yeah. But I mean, like that's the thing. Like when you're looking back, do you want to look at the back of the things that you did with that money and how you help people? Do you know what I mean? Like, thinking like,
One of the girls said you did well with your time and you made the right decisions.
Yeah, I just didn't hold on to it selfishly and not do anything with it. But
again, it goes back to what we said at the start. Like socialization is what your values are. So, for instance, it could be amassing loads of wealth, or it could be your legacy. And I think for a lot of men and women saying that, the most important intrinsic thing is their legacy, what influence they've done. And like I said before, like even if that's just a case of making one person happy and in turn them helping other people, that's excellent. That's excellent. But a lot of people have this weight where they have to do something ridiculous. No, take it in your own pace. Like everyone has the ability to do good and bad, but try and sway it where you're doing positive into the world. So if you could bring something positive, then you've achieved your life's goal. That's it. Bring up children, you know, all sorts of stuff. Making other people happy, the friendships you have. So it entirely depends on your values, really.
Yeah,
I think that's a really good point. And I think, you know, I spoke to a few people who've been in dark places and they've been like homeless and had hard things happening, and you know they've made a choice to change their life and turn it around. I think, like, you know, you have to have those values, don't you? You need to make that choice to kind of
Integrity Farms. Yeah.
But
I've just stayed so long. Yes. Oh crap.
That's all right. It's been great having you on the pod. Yeah, still there. It's been great having you on, Church.
Sorry, man. Yeah, I didn't realize it's 3:45. I've got to go now. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Take care, Church. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I'll speak to you soon. And Medland, I'll see you probably the weekend if we go.
You're going for a bike ride because I've got a spare bike.
Yeah. If you've got the spare bike, I'll take that because I don't think I've got
one.
It's
pink.
Anymore.
Obviously, it's not pink. It's black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see you soon, man.
All right, lads. See you in a bit. Thank you very much.
See you later, man. See you.
All right, on that note, Adam, where are you?
Yeah, I'm here,
man. I think I've got loads of deliveries that have just come through. I keep flicking that because I'm getting notifications from Amazon. Like,
no worries.
Whatever bollocks I ordered. Not more red dye. That red dye about ruined everything.
Yeah, because you said earlier, you said to me you was dyeing your shoes red and you dropped the bottle and it went all over your room.
I had to buy a cap like an absolute pleb and it just went everywhere. Do you know those moments when you've done something so bad, you just look? I just looked at my crush. It was red. Yeah, redhead. Shut up. But yeah, I just literally looked at it and was like,
oh no.
It was my work stuff as well for Monday. This is my work shirt. This is why I'm wearing it now because it's decent and clean. I want to show your listeners that, but no, it went everywhere. And that's why the podcast is a bit late. And unfortunately,
don't worry. Don't worry, you know, life happens. It's absolutely fine as long as it's all good now.
Because you red dye, you clean it up. Yeah.
No, it's a pleasure having you on the podcast, Josh. Is there anything else that you want to say or anything like that?
Just to finish a note, like to your listeners, like obviously there's a lot of negative things out there at the moment, but don't fixate on anything too much. If anything, don't look for rooms of improvement. Don't look at yourself in self-reflection so bad. Just think it's a gradual process. Development doesn't happen overnight. If you've got it in your head that you wish to pursue something to make a positive change in the world, you're already starting in the right steps of 2021. So just a lot of love. Hope you're all okay, and positive mindset if you can, and being realistic. So that's my final message.
Yeah, no, I love that, Josh, and I really, really agree with you. And you know, I wish you all the best in what you're doing, and you know, everyone listening, I wish you all the best for this year as well.
Yeah, same to you, Adam, and take care, bro.
No, you too, man. Cheers, man.
All right, see you in a bit.